Smash Ultimate's gameplay was designed for players already familiar with the series, but the goal for the gameplay was to make the action more thrilling for both casual and competitive players alike. By targeting intermediate players, every character should at least feel usable to as many people as possible. Unique attributes from previous games such as jump squat frames, crouch canceling, and character-specific tech were mostly removed to prioritize more streamlined gameplay. The gameplay is even faster than in Smash 4, leading closer to Melee without the precision needed to keep up. The Spectacle, being the game's presentation, now has special zoom-ins on big attacks, characters are launched at a faster rate across the screen, and overall, the game features weaker defensive options that encourage players to go in and land hits. With the game feeling more intense, everyone coming back is a bigger deal now that they're better than ever. Let's continue to break down the feel of Ultimate's gameplay. One reason Smash Ultimate feels so satisfying to play is its emphasis on landing hits. When you land a hit in this game, the character's attack animation, sound design, visual effects, and increased speed makes that hit feel as impactful as possible. It all feels more crunchy, snappy, and heavy at the same time. And while that's all great, the gameplay loses focus on movement, aka the platforming aspects of Smash. There's an increased buffer window for attacking, reduced cooldown and end lag on all attacks, nerfed defensive options to encourage attacking. Part of the skill in Smash Bros. Games in general is maintaining whatever advantage you've earned. Your advantage state is a balance of remaining at a favorable stage position while keeping your opponent at an unfavorable stage position. You can utilize stage platforms for combo extensions or escape routes. You can litter the stage with items and make parts of the level inaccessible. You can keep the opponent off stage or in the air where they have less options to fight back. It's a matter of capitalizing on your advantage by accounting for your opponent's positioning, damage output, movement options such as drifting, and other counterplay measures such as directional influence or DI. While these aspects have been left intact in Smash Ultimate, the skill ceiling required to master them has been lower, resulting in the game rewarding you more for landing hits. By extension, the movement in Ultimate has been streamlined with features like an increased buffer window for inputs, a short hop macro that lets you attack with a rising aerial move, and universal stat changes such as reduced cooldown on most attacks. Yet, almost no attention was given to player control. The reason I find this detrimental is because the developers inadvertently limit the tactility or responsiveness of the core gameplay. The focus on landing hits has muddled the interactivity of the gameplay. The thing about video games as a medium and why people talk at length about them is because they're all about interactivity with the player. The feel of pressing a button and seeing how the game responds since you press that button adds a lot to the game's quality. Video games are considered transformative experiences because you, the player, are directly contributing to the gameplay in real time. And for fighting games, it's a character-driven genre all about beating your opponent in head-to-head combat. You beat them by landing hits, which is your reward. It almost tells a story of its own, where the journey is your positioning and the transformation is landing the hit. When the original Super Smash Bros. Was developed, it set a goal to streamline the difficulty of arcade fighting games by simplifying its attack inputs. The developers sought to make the game fun by having everyone control like they're in a Super Mario or Kirby game with a universal control scheme. The game stood out for its platforming elements, and all advanced techniques surrounding this new genre were meant to optimize your movements. So with Smash Bros., the journey is moving around with your freeform control while the destination is still landing hits, just like in any other fighting game. So where am I going with this? Basically, the limited movement and responsiveness of Smash Ultimate's controls hinders the overall experience because you can't play the game as tactically as you'd want to. Every Smash-like competitor, and even other Smash games, try to sell you with their movement systems and having more control, but these games lack the reward for just landing a hit, instead of prioritizing optimization and expression. Most people just want to see shit blow up, which Smash Ultimate does best. though I believe Ultimate would have definitely been the best game ever made if it had both the tactility and reward for landing hits in its core gameplay loop. It kinda ruins the journey just to get to the destination as fast as possible. It's not like the game design is bad, but more so it deflates sooner than you'd like it to. My biggest complaint jumps off from this point because Smash Ultimate's gameplay mechanics have arbitrary constraints that don't need to be there. In this context, I consider a constraint something that makes the game harder to control for players. For a game genre all about fighting, you should never have the controls feel like a hindrance. These constraints include the Switch's native input buffer combined with Smash Ultimate's buffer system. The Nintendo Switch's hardware holds Smash Ultimate back due to varying issues such as Joy-Con drift, the lack of processing power, and so on, making for a frustrating experience playing the game. There is a total of 11 frames of input delay under the most stable online connection, which is pretty bad if you realize there are 60 frames in a second. If more than 1/5 of the gameplay isn't being read, that is a problem. Short hop macros prioritization over basic actions such as moving, jumping, and attacking. In the game's data, it's referred to as fusion and gets the highest priority when it comes to the input buffer. Having the right analog stick function as a control stick plus A input. This creates a scenario where one button is read as two inputs, which completely halts a character's air acceleration or mistakes a player's input as a different action they didn't intend. The smash stick input, which is the control stick plus your attack button, is an outdated legacy control scheme that should be an optional feature. There are some characters who benefit from having smash stick on, but with the ample amount of control options already in this game, it should be entirely possible to turn it off. Some people just want to map smash attacks to a button. Others may want to only map an up smash while having their side and down inputs do only tilt attacks. Why this isn't an option after 5 games into the series is beyond me. Inconsistencies with multi-hits, untechable launches from attacks at varying damage percentages, long load times across the board, difficulty turning around in the air, button mashing as a skill check that can leave players more frustrated than anything. Some of these elements were hard coded into the game early on as an intentional design choice, which are decisions I disagree with and should be reevaluated in future games. While I understand how some of these constraints try to solve problems in regards to player accessibility, they feel like remnants of archaic game design. Let me map the smash attack input to a button or turn off the control stick plus A input in one or all directions. Why does the right stick read as 2 separate inputs when buffered? Why is the short hop macro prioritized over attacking? There have been complaints about character balance and fighter design among competitive players as if Nintendo remotely gives a fuck about Smash being a fighting game, which they don't. Sakurai himself admits that balance isn't always a priority, but fun is. To address the point of Smash needing to be a balanced and healthy competitive game, straight up, it's more fun to break the game and have a move that feels powerful over having a completely balanced roster. Have you noticed games with balanced rosters sort of plateau, while broken piles of fucking bullshit like Melee and Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 have stood the test of time, forming legacies among their own fans? There are, however, legitimate criticisms to be had about the characters themselves determining Smash's game design and not the game designers. Some characters and gameplay mechanics in Smash Ultimate can get way too obnoxious under certain conditions. Or worse, the issue can turn in the complete opposite direction and you just get bored of all the chaos on screen after a few matches. To me, the wacky casual bullshit is only fun in short bursts. I think Sakurai's insistence on Smash Bros. Only being a party game is a disservice to how much time and passion fans put into these games. Since I've been knee-deep in the Smash series forever now, I like to understand every single game mechanic, matchup, and mode because it's the series I'm most interested in. Wouldn't you want someone to play your game as much as possible? Super Smash Bros. As a game is in a tough position where it balances between 2 different design philosophies. One that focuses on best representing the characters featured, and one that focuses on making Smash itself a coherent game. With Smash Ultimate, they tried to accommodate both philosophies in every single design aspect, but I think it's a losing battle. It's okay to have the game fully lean on one approach or the other because not everyone wants the same things. These two camps care about completely different things, so the game shouldn't feel compelled to sell both of them on everything. Ultimate is full of these compromises that just don't need to be there. One of these compromises that I absolutely hate are the Battlefield and Omega stage variants. Back in Smash 4, Omega stage variants were based on a shitty Melee meme from the early 2010s because Sakurai just didn't understand how the community plays Smash Bros. Competitively. All this work went into creating pseudo-clones of Final Destination, but they still had different attributes like walls, blast zone sizes, and frictions that altered a character's traction, so they weren't even used in actual tournaments. In Ultimate, they took the even worse approach of listening to Smash fans and doubled down by adding Battlefield variants and reworking the Omega forms, meaning they made 200 plus extra stages that tournaments, for the most part, don't even use. As far as competitive play goes, all this work was for nothing, and the issue came from the fact Sakurai failed to understand how other people enjoyed the game. It surprises me to see him fumble this when he deliberately made the music remixes in Smash Ultimate more intense so they're better suited for competitive play. These stage variants need to be reconceptualized or removed so they can focus on bettering other aspects of the game. One of these aspects could be the game's ridiculous load times. I'll get more into this later, but even in the regular matches, it takes forever to start. You have to boot up the game, wait 5 years to hear the first 1.7 seconds of Lifelight, press any button, wait for the event notifications to load in one at a time, wait for the main menu to load, hit smash again, select your rule set after it takes an entire job orientation to fucking load, wait for the full 7 Twitch ads just to get to the stage select screen, pick Pokemon Stadium 2 like this game actually pays the bills, but then you decide to song counter pick, so you go back and select your playlist, then the song. Then you wait through your parents' messy divorce for the character select screen to fucking load, desperately yearning for some meeting out of everyone is here. Pick your secondary main's 7th or 8th costume slot, which takes the entirety of Smash 4 and Ultimate's development cycle just to load in, a problem they didn't fix from Smash 4's later updates, by the way. But wait, your dumbass bucktooth suicide looking ass opponent forgot to make his fucking tag, so they hold the B button to go back to the stage select screen, go back to the rule set, because despite playing this game for 2,300 plus hours, they didn't know hitting the small ass book icon above the character select takes them directly to the rules and skips the stage select screen entirely. You wait for them to select the controls menu and mash the shit out of their control stick and the A button, because even they know this piece of shit game is running on the Julian calendar that is the Nintendo Switch. That menu needed 5 years of experience in procedural code generation before loading in the fucking controls. Then your opponent changes 2 buttons, tests it for some reason, backs out of the controls menu to the names list within its own menu, presses B one too many times to go back to the main menu by accident, silently hits smash and smash again in the smash menu again, hits their pen to kill themselves to see which takes longer, lung cancer or loading the stage select screen, picks Pokemon Stadium 2, but at least the song is already pre-selected, so that saves time, waits at the RMV for their character skin to load, starts the match only to see they forgot to set their fucking bitch-ass fucking dumbass inside joke fucking tag, quits out of the match or self-destructs because pausing was disabled, waits for the result screen to load, which was recycled directly from Smash Wii U, goes back to the fucking stage select screen, picks Pokemon Stadium 2 for the 3rd fucking time, loads in the CSS, load in the CSS, god fucking damn it, load, fucking load, selects their character and their tag this time because we all make mistakes, waits for the match to start, looks at the cool versus screen, which I admit is pretty cool, waits for the announcer to count down from 3, you go when he says go, not at 1, and then your opponent gets mad for losing the match. This is the game's fault. Overall, Smash Ultimate is still very fun to play. Its gameplay is a step up from Smash 4 in pretty much every way. The game is faster, it fixes most of the obnoxious defense options, it improves the character balance from the previous game, its presentation and effects, graphics, and animations all look great. Every character in this game is at least usable, which is very impressive for an 80+ character roster. The gameplay does suffer from weird constraints that make the game more difficult to play, but in truth, those issues only bother hardcore players and don't take away from how satisfying it feels to land hits and to beat each other up. So, what is there to do in this game?